Today, we're diving into a massive, kind of invisible security crisis that's brewing at the heart of the modern internet. See, we've built this amazing new digital world in the cloud, but the way we're protecting it, it's seriously old school. Let's get into why that's such a huge problem.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Is the security that's supposed to be protecting your data, your apps, your entire online life, is it basically stuck in the Middle Ages? I know, it sounds a little dramatic, right? But for a huge part of the cloud, the answer is a pretty scary yes.
Here's the core issue. We've built this incredibly fast, flexible new world using something called serverless computing. But we're trying to guard it with security ideas designed for a world that just doesn't exist anymore. It's like trying to use the blueprint for a medieval stone castle to protect a city where thousands of shops pop up and disappear every single minute. It just doesn't work.
So what even is serverless computing? Well, imagine your favorite app isn't one big, clunky program. Instead, it's like a swarm of tiny, hyper-specialized little workers. Each one pops into existence for just a fraction of a second to do one specific job, like loading a picture or processing a payment. And then poof, it's gone. It's super efficient, but it also creates this, constantly shifting, chaotic environment that old-school security just can't keep up with.
In this slide, wow, it just lays it all out perfectly. Traditional security is a fortress, right? It's got these high walls, one big gate, and the basic rule is if you're inside, you're trusted. But the cloud is a sprawling city with no walls and literally thousands of doors opening and closing every second. In that world, trusting everyone who's inside is just, well, it's a recipe for absolute disaster.
So if the old rules about trust are totally broken, what's the new rule? Turns out it's really simple, and it's totally uncompromising.
The new philosophy is this: never trust, always verify. This is the mantra, the absolute core of a modern security model that we call zero trust. And believe me, it is a complete 180 in how we think about security.
Zero trust architecture works on one powerful assumption. The bad guys are probably already inside the system. It doesn't care if a request is coming from halfway across the world or from the server sitting right next to it. Every single request for every single action has to be checked and verified. Every single time. There are absolutely no exceptions.
But come on, how in the world can you enforce a rule like that in an environment where millions of those pop-up shops are blinking in and out of existence every second? No human could do that. You need a guard that can think at the speed of light. You need an AI detective.
And this is exactly the challenge that a team of researchers at Gannon University decided to take on. They came up with a plan for a serverless intelligent firewall, basically using artificial intelligence to be the super smart, super fast guard needed to enforce zero trust in this wild new world.
So how do you even build an AI detective? Well, this diagram lays out their 4-step training program. You start with a giant pile of data from real-world cyber attacks. Then you have to clean all that data up. After that, you train a few different kinds of AI, each with its own way of spotting trouble. And finally, you make them compete to see which one is the Sherlock Holmes of the group.
Okay, let's break that down a little. First, they gathered a truly massive amount of data. We're talking over 2.8 million records of network activity, packed with all sorts of cyber attacks. Then, they did the really important work of cleaning and balancing it. Why? Well, you don't want your AI to get biased by only seeing one type of attack over and over again. Once the data was prepped, they trained 4 different AIs. And then came the fun part. They tested them all to see which one could be crowned the most effective digital detective.
And when the results came in, there was a clear winner. A star pupil, if you will. It's a type of AI called an LSTM, which stands for long short-term memory. And really, the name tells you everything. You see, unlike other models that just look at one moment in time, an LSTM has a kind of memory. It can remember what happened before, which lets it connect the dots and spot those sneaky, complex attacks that play out over time, kind of like a real detective noticing clues that nobody else thought were related.
So, just how good was this AI detective with a memory? Well, the results were, honestly, they were incredible. 98%. Just let that sink in. That wasn't just its accuracy score. It hit 98% across the board in accuracy, in not flagging innocent traffic, and in actually catching the real threats. For a business, that means your services don't go down. And for you, it means your data actually stays safe.
And check this out. This chart really shows you just how much better the LSTM was. That memory it has gave it this massive advantage. It beat the next best model by a full 5 points, and it just left the other more traditional models in the dust. I mean, this isn't just a small step up. It's a giant leap forward in what's possible.
Now, this might look a little complicated, but it's called a confusion matrix, and it's a super powerful way to see how accurate an AI is. A perfect score would be one solid, bright line going from corner to corner, and look how close the LSTM model gets. That bright yellow line shows you just how rarely it got confused. It knew what was a threat, and it knew what was safe with just stunning precision.
And it gets even better. The AI wasn't just good on average, it was a specialist. This chart shows it was amazing at spotting specific kinds of attacks. For really common, high-volume stuff like DDoS attacks and port scans, it was nearly perfect. It could shut down the bad guys without ever getting in the way of the good guys.
So what does all this really mean for the future of, our entire digital world?
Well, the best part is that this isn't just some theory from a lab. No, the researchers laid out a practical blueprint for how you can actually deploy this AI firewall in real-world platforms, like Amazon's AWS Lambda. This is a ready-to-go strategy to make the cloud safer right now. It means the companies you depend on every day have a clear path to giving their security a massive upgrade.
So if you're going to remember just a few things from all of this, here's the bottom line. First, the old castle and moat way of security is broken. It's obsolete. In this new world, zero trust has to be the new standard. And this research proves that AI, especially AI with a memory like LSTM, is the tool that can actually enforce that standard with a mind-blowing 98% accuracy.
This research gives us a powerful new shield in the never-ending battle for our digital security. But it also makes you wonder, right? It leaves us with this one kind of chilling question. If this is the AI-powered shield we have today, what will the AI-powered sword of tomorrow look like?